my goal in this is that you're going to come out of college with no debt. And, whatever debt your mother and father have, that's their problem. So your mother and father are going to pay whatever they can. And, when it comes down to how much they think you should be taking out for a loan, I don't know if it's going to work 100%, but my goal is right now that she walk out of college without any loans.
Hi folks, and welcome to the MEFA podcast. My name is Jonathan Hughes, and you just heard from our guest on the show today, Louis Rizzoli. And if you're a grandparent who is or wants to start saving for your grandchildren, then this is the show for you. So honestly, this is a topic that I've wanted to do on the show for a long time. We know here at MEFA that the cost of college is going up, and how important saving is, and how parents don't have to shoulder that burden on their own. Grandparents, aunts and uncles, friends of the family can save for students, and we hear from grandparents all the time who want to help out in this way. So if this is you, listen to our guest on the show today, and if you have questions, please remember that you can reach out to us at 1-800-449-MEFA, or you can email us at collegeplanning@mefa.org, or you can find us on Facebook at MEFA-MA, on X at MEFA-Tweets, and on Instagram at MEFA_MA. So I will be back after the interview to wrap up the show, but for now, let's meet our guest on the MEFA podcast.
My name is Louis Rizzoli. I live in Massachusetts, Westwood. I'm 75 years young. And I am a father and a grandfather, and my oldest, I have three grandchildren, one's 17, 12, and 14, and the 17-year-old one is a senior in high school getting ready to go to college. I started into the MEFA almost 17 years ago, within a year after she was born. And I've just been putting in, what I can over the years. And I think it's an absolutely fantastic program. And I'm sure we'll get into some of the questions a little bit later.
Yeah, so you've been saving then for your grandchild?
Absolutely, yeah.
And have you been saving for all three of your grandchildren?
Yeah. As each one, obviously, as each one came into the world, I opened up a MEFA account. Being in Massachusetts and there being in Connecticut, it doesn't matter. I opened it through MEFA, and they go, which is, I can't say enough good things about MEFA. They've been absolutely excellent. They've got it for any of you grandparents watching this, you can see the, go on. They've got a number of sessions that you can just tune into and look, and they'll explain it to you. Honestly, it's very simple. It's almost like a no-brainer. So, you can put in my case, I just try to put money in when I can, but mostly like at the end of the year, the holidays, and then at their birthdays. A number of other people that I know that are in it, have a deduction coming out of their payroll every month. It's just whatever is easier for whoever is, for whoever grandparent may be involved in this.
I actually want to hear a little bit about you and what your background is and your education maybe, and does that kind of feed into why you think this was important to do this, your own attitudes about education?
I'm an attorney. My undergraduate was at Holy Cross College in Worcester, and like most Holy Cross grads, we're kind of crazy, and we think that it's the greatest place on earth, and we continue to think that no matter how many years we've been we've graduated from school.
Always nice to hear that, right? You happy with your college?
College, yeah. My wife says it's something in the drinking water because you're all, we all come out of there and, say that, that there's no other place like the Hill in Worcester. So, I'm a real um, world traveler, Jonathan. I grew up in Milford, Mass, and I went 30 miles west to Holy Cross in Worcester, and then I went 30 miles east to Suffolk Law School in Boston. So, and never more than 30 miles from the womb, as they say. Um, I went to law school nights, to Suffolk nights, and I worked at the State House, and then I became an assistant attorney general, and then uh, God must look kindly on me because at the age of 35, I became the chief legal counsel to the Massachusetts House of Representatives, where I stayed for 25 years. And I also taught law at Suffolk Law School as an adjunct professor. I've got somewhat of a background in finances. I'm certainly no expert, but even in my job at the State House, people would come to me and talk about, what should we do? Because, they have one of those 403B plans where you can put money in coming out of every paycheck. And, I give people advice. And though, I look at that and the 401ks, if you're in private, working in the private sector, as just great things to do. You just don't, you don't think about it. You just put the money in, and then all of a sudden you go, wow, it's this is here. And I'm pretty much retired now. And it's like, oh wow, that's what I had put in when I was working at the State House, and this is good. And quite frankly, Jonathan, that's one of the reasons that I decided to go into the MEFA program, because I saw how putting a little money aside every year, into my the plan that they have with the state worked very well for me and my family.
What about the 529 plan was attractive specifically as a way to save?
One of the biggest things when I looked at it was, you know, we all worry. We all like to earn high interest on whatever we have, and then we don't like paying taxes at the end of the year on the interest that we've earned. And one of the biggest selling points was, okay, if you use this for education for your grandchildren, you don't pay taxes. They don't pay taxes. I don't pay taxes, and it's like, okay, if there's some way that I can help the grandchildren out here, and it's not going to affect, having for me to take the money out to have to pay taxes on it. It sounds like a win-win situation. So.
And as far as setting up the account itself, do you remember much about that being easy, or do you remember? Did you go into a branch? Did you call up? Did you do it online? Did you get assistance with that? What was that process like?
It was a piece of cake. I did it online, with assistants calling up me and going into it, and it was really easy to set up. It took no time at all. You know, and then of course it's Fidelity that you're working with the program, and I talked to the people at Fidelity, and they have uh, two or three different funds that you can put the money in, and you pick one of them. And I just picked the Fidelity funds and let them decide how to invest it. They have index funds, they have whatever it is. I haven't looked at it in a long time, but when I did, the Fidelity funds looked like that they had done a little bit better than the others, and you just put it in. It's easy. It's a great partnership, Mefer and the Fidelities, because you both work together, and both of in my I haven't done much up until like last year or whatever with it, because you just you look at it at the end of the year and say, wow, that's pretty good. I put in X and now I've got X plus. If any of you that, may be listening to this, I mean, I almost look at it, like these target retirement funds that you set up for when you retire. You look at it, and depending on how old you are, it's more aggressive. When you're getting closer to, you tell them, what age, and, I'm doing that now. And it's the same thing. I mean, I just actually, knowing I was going to be doing this is like the first time in a long time that I checked up on it. And, I could see the granddaughter who's the senior in high school. It's a very, in the last couple of years, it's a very conservative funds that they are investing in. Fidelity just does this. And the ones who are in, there's one in the other two are seventh and eighth grade, and there's a more aggressive, and they were even more aggressive the younger they were. So it just works out perfectly because, there's ups and downs in the market. Jonathan, one of the things is that I ended up looking at it again a little more detail recently, and I checked it out, and I called Fidelity just to make sure I knew that I was correct on it. And so either the 16, or I can't remember exactly when I opened the oldest grandchild's up, but then I've earned 60% interest
Wow.
since I opened it up. And I think that's fantastic for not doing it, for not watching it at all over the years. So, that the interest and what I put in, if it all goes for education, is going to be totally tax exempt. And assuming that the oldest one doesn't use all the money that's there, we can move it into her brother or her younger sister's account.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great feature. I'm glad you brought that up. And actually, speaking of the oldest grandchild, the one who's getting ready to go to college soon, I imagine that she knows that you've saved for her, and do you have these kind of conversations about college with her, and what do you guys talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't gone into tremendous, details with her, but I said, you're going to be filling out your FAFSA form, and she's doing it now, with the mother and father, and getting ready to do that. And, I said to her, obviously pick your choice of where you're going to go to college. And even though you haven't applied to Holy Cross, I'm still going to help you out. And my goal in this is that you're going to come out of college with no debt. And, whatever debt your mother and father have, that's their problem. So your mother and father are going to pay whatever they can. And, when it comes down to how much they think you should be taking out for a loan, I don't know if it's going to work 100%, but my goal is right now that she walk out of college without any
Mm.
loans.
And that sort of leads into my next question, which is your own children and your own daughter, who's your granddaughter's mom, obviously. Um, you know, she must appreciate your savings.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she's constantly saying thank you, and, this is great what you're going to do. And, I wish I wish these plans were around. My two daughters are in their, mid to late, mid 40s, and now, and, I wish these plans were around when they were getting
Yeah.
ready to go to school. It would have been a lot better, because, whatever I had saved for them when I took it out to pay the colleges, it's taken out, paying interest, paying taxes on the interest. And so this is a great plan.
I know that you sort of came to us where you were on one of our FAFSA webinars.
Right.
And so I was just wondering if, and you mentioned it, now that I have you here, I kind of have to ask you what your experience as a grandparent and looking at this sort of financial aid process and interacting with MEFA. has been like. But is this something that you would recommend that other parents and grandparents do, and sort of take advantage of the help that's available?
Yeah, absolutely. And quite frankly, if anything, don't wait till the last year that your grandchild is in college. Start going, excuse me, in high school. Start going to these webinars that MEFA offers, and I found the webinar on FAFSA to be very informative. And, quite frankly, anyone who's watching this, it's very well done to the point that and you can send in questions while it's going on and they'll answer them. They go back and forth. It's very well done. And it's made for people who just aren't like on top of everything for the college. I mean, they go through some very elementary areas, which is very helpful to people who are looking to help their grandchildren in college. So it's to go to college.
I've been trying to highlight this grandparents' experience in saving for college for a while. So it's really, really exciting that you're here. To bring it back a little bit more to the savings aspect, can you talk about? You did mention it earlier, but what is your own sort of saving habit?
Yeah, as I've said before, I'm an attorney, and so after I retired, I guess they paroled me out for good behavior after 25 years as the chief counsel to the House of Representatives. Then I did some practicing the law and still do minimal now. So I found, when I was getting a salary every 2 weeks, it was easy at that time to just have some money taken out of my paycheck every month and put it in.
Mhm.
And then, when I'm in practice, it all depended on how quickly my clients paid me. So it was, sort of like, there were times that I thought I was going to be eligible for food stamps. Only kidding. And then there were other times that I thought I was going to eat caviar for the whole month. So I just decided at that point, since I didn't have a regular, working paycheck to come in, that I would just, and it worked. I would just try to go and put money in at their birthdays and at the end of the year. So it's whatever is easier for people. And I can't emphasize this enough. Whatever works, but just do it. If your grandparents are there and you're on a fixed income and you can't, don't feel like you have to be putting thousands of dollars or whatever it is. It's like anything with I really make the analogy to the retirement accounts that you set up. You do it when you're young and you go, wow, that's what's in there now. The earlier you can do it, the better for your grandchildren, and that's what it's all set up to be. And like I said, it doesn't matter how little you put in, because you would be absolutely amazed after 15, 17 years how much that's in there that you didn't put in.
Right.
That there was the interest that was earned there. So
When we talked earlier before this, you mentioned a change in the FAFSA over this past uh,
oh yeah.
year or two that is going to make a big impact as far as grandparent saving. I wonder if you could talk about that.
Sure. So this is probably, especially if you have young grandchildren, that you're starting to put money aside, and there's always like, okay, they're filling out the FAFSA, and whatever the parents do, the grandparents, it's a 529 account, and it was until school year 24 to 25, which is, this year, it was always that 529 account would be added into their FAFSA for the amount of money that can be used for college, so that it would decrease, quite frankly, what what the children would be getting, or grandchildren would be getting for education. So the change in the law, a really good one for grandparents, is that the amount of money that a grandparent has in the 529 account is now no longer added in for the on the FAFSA form, and it's a really great thing, And then you don't have to turn around and say, "Oh, that was nice. The grandpa and grandma put in so much money here, but now our now that we're not going to get as much from the school, and then you have to deal with the in-laws, and so it's no, but it's what's there." I want to read something,
Oh,
if I
please, yeah.
may, from that from. So it's not just me; it's from Kiplinger's personal finance book. It's December 2024 monthly edition. And I'll just read one thing. Um, the FAFSA is used to determine how much financial aid a student is eligible for, and distributions from a grandparent's own 529 account could reduce that aid by 50%. That's a significant difference, a $5,000 reduction in aid to a $10,000 distribution. For 2024-25 academic year and beyond, however, distributions from grandparents owned 529 accounts aren't considered cash gifts and won't impact federal student aid eligibility. So, it's a good article if you want to read it, or that's the most important thing there, that, you now, whatever money you can put in there, you just don't put it on the fast. Your children and grandchild, they don't put it when they're filling out how much their income is and what the sources are. And, it's a great thing. And it just got better this year. And as I said, the key words there, and beyond, so that, where my granddaughter will be starting college in, September of this year, we're filling out the FAFSA form. None of what I put into the 529 is going to count as income.
Right. Well, I really appreciate you coming on to talk about this, and thank you for doing that. Thank you for offering. Thank you for saving, frankly, for your grandkids, and for doing that. Good luck to your granddaughter going to school soon, and good luck to your grandchildren behind her, and maybe one of them will go to Holy Cross.
Thank you. Take care. I'm happy to have done it. I hope that anyone who watches this, that I've been helpful. Take care.
All right, folks. Well, that is our show. I want to thank Louis Rizzoli for offering his time and his experience for us and for everyone. It was great to meet you, Mr. Rizzoli, and best of luck with everything. And folks, if you liked what you heard on the show today and you want to hear more from us on planning, paying, and saving for college and career readiness and meeting financial goals, well, then please follow the show. And you can find us where you have found us, which is anywhere you find your podcasts. And please remember to rate and review us. It just helps us to keep doing our show and to know what you want to hear about. I'd like to thank our producer, Sean Connolly. I'd like to thank AJ Yee, Meredith Clement, Lisa Rooney, and Lauren Dans for their assistance in getting the show posted. Once again, my name is Jonathan Hughes, and this has been the MEFA Podcast. Thanks.